Welcome back to the Freedom Real Estate Podcast with your boy, Andrew Freed. And I have a very special guest today, Tony Eisenhauer. This guy is an absolute beast. He's a flipper, creative finance specialist. Oh, and by the way, he has 13 units as well. Buy and hold investor. Excited to have him on here. How you doing today, Tony?
I'm awesome, man. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. I just want to say, super cool seeing your growth, everything you have going on. I saw you from the beginning, bro, and it's been a run, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. What I'd say about, as you know, what I'd say about a real estate journey is you never know the end result. Like when I got into it, my goal was to house hack 10 multis in 10 years and ride off into the wind. Just retire, ride off into the sunset, and here I am today with a lot more than 30 doors, right?
A little bit.
Yep. So, Tony, I'm assuming you didn't just grow up wanting to be a real estate investor, right? Like what got you into real estate investing and what did your first deal look like?
So I would say for me, it was through the struggle, right? Like I had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old, I'd say. Various businesses, all of them for the most part failed. But I don't look at them necessarily as failures because I learned a lot from my mistakes. So I would say, taking that time to learn those lessons the hard way and realize like, hey, there's a lot easier way here if you figure out how to do this. You see all these successful people in real estate, you hear these podcasts, you see these videos, and you're like, well, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yep. We all have those get rich quick schemes, or we think so, right? We think we're going to hit it big, right? And like you, I've had many, many, many failed businesses. I think one of my failed businesses was growing wheat. I tried growing wheat. That was one of my failed businesses, right? I think another one of my failed businesses was trading crypto, trading options.
Yep.
I thought I was good at it until I wasn't, right? Just like everybody else. And then we found this magical thing, real estate. So what brought you to real estate and how has it really helped you kind of scale your business?
Yeah. So I think like a lot of people, bigger pockets was a big introduction for real estate for me. I actually, at the time, I owned a transportation company. So we'd haul aggregate. I had a triaxle and a dump trailer and a couple trucks. And I'd sit in the seat for 12 hours a day. And I'd listen to podcasts. And I'd be like, this is crazy, man. I'm spending 12 hours in the seat. I have to go back and wrench on the truck when I'm done driving, change the brakes, change the tires, like all this stuff. I'm like, why am I breaking my back here? Listening to Pace Morby and all these cool dudes like getting into deals for $0. I'm like, what am I doing? So that was kind of my introduction into my first deal, which was actually a full BRRRR.
Your first deal. So bring me back, way back to that time. What did that look like? What did your first deal look like? And where was it located exactly?
Oxford, Mass.
Oxford. Okay. Oxford, Mass. Okay. Yep.
Pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was a single family house.
Okay.
Got it off market actually from I was renting a house behind the house. And the guy that I was renting from owned both houses.
Okay.
I'm like, well, listen, don't put that on the market. I want to buy it. And at that time I had saved, I think $200,000. So I had a little bit of capital saved up.
That's a decent amount of capital. Yeah. And did you use all the $200,000 on the purchase?
How did we do that one? We did. Yes, actually we did. I think we paid $100,000. No, we paid $90,000 and we put $110,000 into it. And then we refied out at like $350,000.
Okay.
So not only did I pull all my cash back out, all my cash, but we pulled extra out.
Yep. So that was your first deal. But Tony now, with a lot more experience, would you have done that differently with the amount of cash you had?
100%.
And what would you have done differently in that scenario? I mean, it obviously worked out for you, got you into real estate, but hindsight 2020, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a thing called cost of capital, right? So, yes, that was a good deal for me at the time, but I could have deployed that cash into 4 or 5 other deals that could have been, now I'm getting appreciation, depreciation, all that good stuff on 4 buildings, not 1.
With the power of this wonderful thing called leverage.
Correct.
Right? So I think in that first deal, rather than using other people's money, you just used your money for everything.
Right.
The down payment, the loan, the renovation, right? But with leverage, you can get a lender to cover 80, 90, sometimes even 100% of the construction costs.
Yep.
And it could really go farther to amplify your return.
Definitely. And that's where creative finance comes in too, guys. So like seller finance, subject to, these are easy ways to get into deals too.
So you listen to Pace Morby
Yep.
about seller finance. You got in your first deal and you just gave him all your cash, right?
Yeah.
You didn't. Did you listen to Pace
No,
Morby?
I did not on the first one.
All right. So let's hear about your first creative deal, right? Like let's hear how you started implementing some of these cool strategies.
Yeah. So my first creative deal was a seller finance deal in Connecticut. It was actually 3 duplexes in a commercial garage.
Okay.
It was actually a family who was going to list this on the market. They also had a business for sale at the time that they were selling for like $2 million.
Ooh.
So between the business and the apartments, they were going to get whacked with taxes hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So I pitched it to them like, hey, listen, let me pay you an interest rate over the next 8 years. I think we did an 8-year balloon.
Okay.
I'll pay you an interest rate, and you're going to save probably a few $100,000 on taxes over the course of the next few years.
Yeah. Because more or less your thought process is like if you get all of that money paid at once, it's going to bump you into the highest tax bracket. You're going to get taxed, upwards of 40%.
Correct.
Versus if you stagger it over time, you might get taxed in a bracket of 25-30% over time, right? Is that kind of your logic with that?
Yep, and capital gains too, depending on how long they've had the business or real estate too.
Okay. So how did that end? How did that project end up? What was the end result of that project?
Yeah, that was a cool one. So, like I said, that was seller finance, and it was a pretty easy one. We went in, and they were landlords for, 25 years there.
Okay.
And they were the type where everything was a check, written check, so all of their rents were checks, and they didn't up the rents since like the 90s.
Wow.
So, like a 4-bedroom apartment was renting for $900 a month.
And that market is what, $2,000?
Easy.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I think we're at like 2,400 there.
Yeah.
For a 4-bedroom. They're renovated, but yeah. So it was an easy strategy. We went in there, we put a little bit of money. I think we put 20,000 between the units.
Yeah.
And literally just got good tenants in there, up the rents, and
you pretty much just cosmetically upgraded the units, LVP, paint,
Yep.
maybe new cabinets, countertops.
some of them. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Well, I mean that's a really good return on investment.
Right. Yeah, with little to no money in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I love real estate. Is when you find value, you can create money out of nothingness. Right?
Exactly.
It's so cool, right?
Very cool.
So you're a full-time flipper now, right?
Yep.
And how are you doing in this market right now? And like, what's your day-to-day look like as like a full-time flipper?
Yeah, good question. So it's really it's getting harder and harder and harder to do fix and flips, especially with single family houses. As you know, it's deals are really tight. So we had to pivot our strategy, and now it's actually worked out really well because now we have a really good purpose behind what we're doing.
Okay.
So we're actually helping people out of pre-foreclosure situations.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody enters into foreclosure, they miss their payments for 3 or 4 months. Maybe they have health issues going on. You never really know. And we step in and say, hey, listen, if we can stop the auction for you, put some money in your pocket, would you be interested in selling your house? And a lot of times it's, yeah, definitely, because they're going to lose their house if somebody doesn't step in and help.
Yeah, totally.
So, typically they'll have arrears of like $30, $40, $50, $60,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll come in, we'll catch up the arrears. And what's cool too is we're actually taking these deals down subject to. So we'll catch up the arrears. We'll take their loan over. So they sign their loan over to us and we just make the payments on their behalf, do a renovation on it, and then sell it in 6 months. So the benefit of that is it saves us from having to get the capital of the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to purchase the house. We just have to come up with the rehab money.
Or it also saves you in closing costs. It saves you in potential holding costs because I'm assuming loans might be higher now than when they originated the loan,
100%.
right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like a novation agreement in a sense, right?
Yep. Yeah, novation is a little different, but essentially novations can kind of get sketchy.
But you keep the same loan in place. You keep your holding costs low. You eliminate closing costs. I mean, obviously there's differences, right? But it's kind of the same sort of concept where you keep your overhead low. And like I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. Like I made this mistake myself. Like I'll admit it. Like the holding costs are what kill you, right? Like you got to think about it, right? Like you got to pay closing costs on the buy and the sell, and you got to pay holding costs throughout. Right. Oh, and by the way, you also probably got to pay LLC formation costs.
Realtors.
Right. Realtors. Right. Like that literally adds up to like 10 to 15% of the purchase price over time.
Definitely.
Right. And it's like, and I think there's been deals where I, broke even or maybe lost 10 grand because I failed to take that into account.
Definitely. I see that happen all the time. I help newbies kind of get their first deals too. And I see that a lot. They bring me a deal and they're like, "Hey, this is projected at $50,000." I underwrite it and run the numbers. I'm like, "You don't have holding costs in here. You don't have some, staging. Maybe you don't have photo. Like you don't have a lot of items in here." So I break all that down for them, and it's a lose
Yeah.
almost every time. So
Yeah. I don't think people realize like it, flipping is, people think it's easy money, but it really isn't. First of all, you got to be really the top echelon, especially in single families. You got to provide a product way above your competition, right? Like I personally try to get in the single family flipping space, and I'm strictly a value add multifamily guy, right? So try to plop some LVP, some paint, one of my single family flips, and it's like that's not the product they're looking for, right?
Right.
And I don't really have the eye for that. So it takes a special eye to be successful, in single families. But on top of that, you really need a deep spread to make money, in my opinion, especially right now where it's like you don't even know where like the end value will land, right? It could literally land 10% below your underwriting.
100%. Yeah, and to your point, so we've actually upped that threshold that you just mentioned too. So, our threshold before was, well, if we can make 30, 40 grand on a flip, sure, let's do it. Because we knew if we put a good product on the market, it was going to go.
Yeah.
Now we're up to 75 grand minimum. If it doesn't pencil out at 75, it's not a deal for us because there's too many variables. The market could shift. There's just too many variables.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you don't want to work for free.
Right.
Right? I don't want to work for free.
Right.
Right? And if we underwrite wrong, we could literally work for 6 to 8 months and make no money.
Or worse, lose money.
I know. I know, right? Yeah, that's exactly. So, obviously, you've done flips, right? You've done creative finance, but you've also accumulated quite a portfolio of rentals, 13, I believe, right? So,
Yep.
What's your strategy behind accumulating rentals, and how does that kind of synergize with your flipping component, your flipping arm?
Yeah, so when we first started, I think like a lot of people, we had the mindset of you want to do this by yourself, right? Like we'll use our capital, we'll manage it, and we'll do everything ourselves, and we'll be good. And then you get to a point, and I don't care who you are, you get to a point where your capital runs out, your time runs out, something you have runs out to where you need to bring in a partner. And for me, that was a capital partner. So that's how we scaled from those first few seller finance multis, and bought our next one was we brought in a PMP, private money partner, and they brought the capital. We got the deal and managed the deal.
Okay, so that's pretty much how you accumulated those 13 doors with other people's money?
Yep.
Okay. And do you utilize the other profit levers of real estate among those buy and hold assets to offset some of your gains from your flips, right? Because, obviously flips are good, but also with flips comes very high taxes.
100%. So that's actually something we're just getting into in the past year. We're super passionate about is short-term rentals. And the reason for short-term rentals is something called the STR loophole. I'm sure you're familiar with it. For your listeners who aren't, it's basically a set of rules set by the IRS that allows you to offset your active income from a rental. So typically with long-term rentals, even with the cost seg, you can get bonus depreciation, but you can't necessarily offset your active income.
Yeah, short-term rental loophole is a fantastic way to save on taxes, like you mentioned. You can do accelerated depreciation on a short-term rental and essentially get 20 to 30% of that asset written off in year one, right?
Yep.
And those losses, say for example, a $500,000 asset would result in a $100K loss. You could use that $100K loss to directly offset a $100K gain in your W-2, right? That's an example of a short-term rental loophole. What's cool about, full-time investors like me and you is we get this thing called real estate professional designation.
Yes.
REP, right?
Yeah.
And what's cool about REP is that just allows us to use depreciation to offset mostly all of our gains.
Yep.
Right. And like we don't have to go through these creative strategies like short-term rental loophole, which, a lot of doctors go for that, attorneys, high income earners, because they can utilize the depreciation with that mechanism to offset their income. But they normally can't use depreciation to offset their W2. But me and you as full-time real estate investors can.
100%.
So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest misnomers in real estate is, people really think in real estate, you make money on the cash flow, But what you really make money on is the forced depreciation and the tax benefits.
Definitely.
At least, like, so for me, like, literally, I think my tax rate was effectively a 0% this year because of my depreciation, right? Like, that's big,
Very
right? I
cool.
essentially paid no freaking taxes, right? But on top of that, like, cash flow is great, but a lot of time cash flow is literally there and it's literally meant to just keep your asset in a good standing order, right? But what you really make money is on, like, I mean, over time you make the true wealth on the forced appreciation,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, what's so cool too, and a lot of people don't realize, there's people buying deals out there that don't cash flow at all. And the reason for that is they're offsetting. There's more important things than cash flow, like you said.
Yeah.
So they're buying it for the appreciation and the depreciation and all of these cool things. So
Exactly.
a lot of people, when they underwrite deals, it depends on where you are in your journey,
Sure.
right? But cash flow is big for some people.
Yep.
Other people, they could care less.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to think about it, right? Like, what if I owned a business and I make a $2 million profit, right? And I have no depreciation to offset that $2 million profit.
Right.
Like, how much taxes am I paying?
A lot.
Like $600,000, $700,000 in taxes,
Right.
right? Or what I could do is I could take $1 million or $1 million from my profit, buy a piece of real estate, use that use a cost segregation study, and get losses, and maybe only pay a couple $100,000 versus paying $700,000-$800,000 in taxes, right? So as you can see, like, people in different scenarios, like, they want different things.
Yep. Yeah. And what I tell people too is, don't put yourself in a box and don't listen to somebody who tells you, you can't do this, you can't do that. I would say do your research and get yourself in the right rooms, listen to podcasts like this. And there's ways around everything, guys. And depending on how creative you want to get, you can get some really creative, you can do some really creative stuff to get some equity.
So Tony, bring us back to young Tony Eisenhauer. Imagine you were talking to your 13-year-old self, and you could really give them 3 pieces of advice to be successful in this world. What 3 pieces of advice would you give them?
Ooh, that's a good one. 3 pieces of advice.
You're on the spot, and I know he's thinking. He's repeating the question. That's what people do. They repeat the question when they're thinking. I'm just babbling to give you some more time, Tony. So.
I would say, first off, a big one for me is don't listen to the naysayers and don't listen to anybody who's not in a position that you want to be in. I think that's a big thing. We want to respect our elders. We want to respect our parents or whoever it may be. And if that person at the end of the day isn't in a situation that you want to be in, why would you listen to them?
Yeah. I mean, like, when I was going for my first house hack, my parents were walking a property with me and they would give me advice on whether I should buy this rental property. Meanwhile, they have no rentals, right? Like, I love my parents. They're great, right? And I would take parenting advice from them, but why take real estate advice when they don't have the knowledge to give me that advice, right?
Exactly. Because they're going to be coming from a scarcity mindset that they don't know what they don't know. Can't be mad about it, but they don't know.
And what happens when you don't know? You're fearful and you run away.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Tip number 1. What's tip number 2?
I would say live an abundant life. Always lead with value. That's what I've learned a lot from Pace and other mentors, is if you lead with value and your life is full of abundance, it's going to come back to you tenfold, and don't expect anything in return, right? Lead with value, give people resources, help people along the way, and it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, I'll just give you a quick example. Like, I lead with value, and I think this month alone, I think I probably made like 15 grand from doing nothing other than just people bringing opportunities to me. Like, I lead my Worcester agent team. I think I had 4 agents on my team sell shit.
Yep.
I think I made 2-3 grand an agent, right?
Nice.
I connected somebody else with somebody who negotiated a seller finance deal to buy their property, and they gave me 1%. All I did was make a connection. I make 7 grand.
Sick.
I literally just, for me existing, I made 15 grand this month. And that was just because I compounded my value over time, where, I have the value to deserve that sort of abundance to come into my life.
Definitely. And that leads me into my third one, I'd say, is a lot of people trade their time for dollars, right? And getting out of that mindset of like, I'm worth $40 an hour, $50 an hour, whatever that is really when you start to grow like you have. And you realize at the end of the day, after this growth, your time is worth everything. And that's the whole reason we get into this business, is to buy our time back.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's honestly one of my favorite books. Buy your Buy Back Your Time by Dan
Yeah.
Martell. Yep. Amazing book. And I just love that book because that just really teaches you to sit in your genius and ignore the rest.
Yep.
Right. And when you sit in your genius and you ignore the rest, magic happens.
Magic. Because once you start taking the mundane tasks out of your day, the stuff that you can hand off to other people, you can focus on what you're good at, what you're brilliant at, what you're creative at. And that's what you were born for.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think to your point, I think the main calculus there is you really have to figure out what is your dollar per hour, right? Like what do you truly make per hour? And anything less than that doesn't give you energy, that doesn't give you drive, you got to eliminate, delegate, or create systems to take off your plate.
Yep, definitely. It's actually been a big growth year for the past year or two for me as far as relationships and all that stuff too, because my circle keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I want to hang out with people like you. I want to hang out with people who are doing big things. And it's not that my old friends aren't doing those things or aren't great people, but they aren't aligning with where I'm going and what I'm doing. So your circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you level up in life and real estate and different things, and that's okay.
You are the average of the 5 people you associate yourself with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So give our readers some of your favorite books that they should check out. What the books that really changed your life?
Oh, Rocket Fuel is one of my favorite books.
Okay.
Rocket Fuel. The classic, obviously, Rich Dad Poor Dad, everyone says it, but that was the first real book that I read that changed my perspective on things.
How do you implement it in your business today? Because typically in Rocket Fuel, there's a visionary and
Integrator.
right? And you are the
Visionary.
and I'm assuming your wife is the integrator.
She's an integrator operator.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, and she helps a lot on the back end stuff. And really, what that book shows you is that getting good at or sticking to what you're good at and delegating, like we just talked about, delegating the other things is where you're gonna excel.
Yes, and thankfully I'm very good at telling people what to do. So I just love just sitting in my genius, right?
Yep.
No, actually Zach is the integrator and I'm the visionary.
Yep.
For our business. So yeah, Zach is the boots on the ground, gets stuff done, and I'm just like, up in the sky, just pulling the strings.
Which is funny to me because you also are on the back end doing all the numbers and stuff like that too, right? Or at least you were.
You think so? Zach actually does a lot of the numbers. I'm more of the quality check.
Okay.
I'm more of the final say.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, Zach actually he's pretty good talent. Very good underwriter.
Was that from the beginning, or is that kind of led into?
No, it started with me teaching him. A lot of it started with me teaching Zach how to do things, and he kind of took it on for sure. But
okay.
But yeah, I had a lot of teachers in my life as well. I mean, ultimately, everything I learned was just taken from something else. Like I think the best compliment is if somebody copies what I do. Right. And if I see other successful people doing something, I will put it in my repertoire all day.
Yeah. And that's what I hate these days, man. It's like, why gatekeep? Like, why not teach somebody how if you're successful at something, good at it, why would you not give that to the world and show people how to do it?
And it's funny because people typically think, if I show it to the world, everybody's going to do this and this isn't going to become my competitive advantage. Right.
Right.
And what I would tell you is, just through experience, most people don't do what they say they're going to do.
Right.
I could tell people how to make $1 million, and out of 100 people, I guarantee 1%. I'd be lucky if 1% actually did what I say.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows what it takes to get a 6-pack. How many people actually have a 6-pack?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's like that old saying. It's like, the first thing I want you to do is go through your phone and message every single person that you have this new business and you want them to be a part of it, or even just send them a text and say, hey, I'm doing this now. Nobody's going to go through their phone and just do that one task. You know what I mean? It's like you said, to show somebody how to do something and have them perform on it, it's the number's so small.
It is, right? And, that honestly has been one of my secret weapons to leveling up is I find somebody who I highly respect doing what I want to do at a larger scale. And I ask them a good question and I get their advice. And then I do that thing. And then I follow up with them and I tell them, hey, I did that thing. What should I do next?
Yeah.
Right. And like, you'd be surprised how few people do that.
Right. That easy.
Yeah.
And what's cool is like people who are in a position that you want to be in typically want to help you. They want to have a mentor or somebody to mentee. You know what I mean? If you're a good person and ready to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give you a quick example. Like, I'm part of this GoBundance mastermind group all over the nation, high performers. And there's a CEO, Matt King, and he has a podcast. I wanted to get in his podcast. So we went to GoBundance event, and we had to write down something we were going to accomplish in the next 90 days, and we had to be held accountable for it, right? So what did I do? I did that thing I said I was going to do. I sent him an email. I told him exactly what I was going to do, and I gave him the end result. It resulted with me getting on his podcast because he's like, you're a freaking badass. I want you on my podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Because, when people follow through and they do what they say they're going to do, that's a very, very rare quality. But ultimately, those are the people that you and I want to partner with.
Exactly. To that point, I saw you on Rod's podcast. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
How'd you get on him?
I just asked.
Dude, that's so cool.
No, it's like people ask me, how do you get these podcasts? I literally ask. I've never got invited to any podcast. I'm going on Brandon Turner's podcast. I asked. I'm going on I was on Rod Cleef's podcast. Yeah. I asked. I went on Bigger Pockets podcast 3 times. I asked 3 times. Right? Like, I think people just think opportunity falls into people's laps. No, opportunity comes to the people who take action.
Exactly. Yep.
So Tony, you're obviously a very successful real estate investor, but you're also a committed family man and big into fitness, right? Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it goes back to why I got into real estate, and it's having a big a Mount Everest, I call it, a big why. And at the end of the day, my why is my family and my time. Like I realized at a young age that I don't want to be a 9 to 5. I don't want to miss my kids going to school in the morning, work all day, and then get home at 7 o'clock and they're going to bed. I didn't even see them. So I won't see them till the weekend, and a lot of people go through life, unfortunately, not having that time. And that was always a huge driver for me to figure out how to buy my time back and how to kind of hack that 9 to 5, if you will. And I think health and fitness comes into play with that as well. To your point, is if you're not healthy and you're a billionaire, what does it matter if you're dying in 10 years?
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's billionaires out there that would give all that money up for health.
Exactly.
Right? Like, give it all that money up for the life you're living right now.
Yep. Any successful person I've met, for the most part, is usually, healthy and fit. And the reason for that is they have their stuff together, right? Like, they have systems in place, they have a schedule, they get up, they do their work, they do their workout, they're happy, they're motivated. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. So, all right, Tony. So now we're about to do the lightning round. Quick answers. First thing come to mind.
Oh, boy.
Favorite deal ever and why?
It'll be my first seller finance deal because it was my first deal.
Okay.
Seller finance, no money down.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Getting the deals with no money. That's a fantastic opportunity.
Can't beat it.
Worst deal or biggest lesson learned?
Ooh, that would be last year. We did a flip in a market that we don't typically do flips in.
Okay.
That was my first mistake. Thought I knew the market and I didn't. We ended up losing $20,000 on it. Okay. That was the first time we lost money on a deal. And it was due to, we typically, when we do flips, just for your audience, we come in, we basically do everything in the house. So that when we put it on the market, there's no complaints. There's no, it needs a water heater, it needs this. For the most part, we try to do everything. Okay. And we do it right. Yep. In this one in Alton Bay that we did in New Hampshire, it was what we call a wholesale. So we bought it cheap and we just put it on the market. Yep. We didn't do anything to it. We just cleaned it out. Yep. Terrible idea.
Single family.
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
terrible idea.
Yes. With single families, buyers are very particular.
Very. Very. So what happens is your buying pool gets to this point where it's like 2 people. So it was really tough. It's on the market for 6 months. We did like 4 price reductions and just had to fire sale it.
Jeez.
Yeah, it sucked. We learned a lot. I won't do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, I think that goes down back to like knowing your buyer too, right? Because like, if you really knew your buyer in that scenario, you probably would have priced it right,
Yep.
and then you would have sold it. You wouldn't have had 6 months of holding costs. You probably would have broke out even,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So to your point, it's like if you knew your market, you probably would have priced it right, and you might have ended up maybe not losing money in that situation, maybe not making money, but probably in a better situation.
Yeah, and with flips, it's really it's hard enough as is to but to go out of your market that you don't in a market that you don't know, it's not a good idea. To do the research and or partner with somebody in that market.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One tool or system you can't live without.
Oh, I'd say Rent Ready.
Oh, rent ready.
So we use for rents and rent collections and stuff.
Okay.
Tenant communications,
Work orders.
work orders.
Okay.
All that
Okay.
stuff.
Rent ready.
Yep.
His property management software.
Yep.
Which was scarier? Your first real estate deal or your first Harley wheelie?
I would say my first Harley Wheelie.
Okay. Okay.
It's no joke.
That's pretty scary.
It's a heavy motorcycle.
Those things like, yeah, if they fall over on you, like game over.
Exactly. A lot of practice, a lot of seat time, and I would say that's not something you just get on and do. You got to practice.
Yeah. So if real estate disappeared tomorrow, what would you do?
I would probably still be in the construction industry. I'd say driving truck or running heavy equipment.
Yeah. Okay.
Miserable.
Miserable. Yeah. I got asked that same question. To your point, I was like, I'd probably just be in my W-2, freaking hated my life.
Right.
Living with regret, right?
Yeah, it's funny, and I know you're the same way. It's like real estate is such a perfect fit for me in so many different ways.
Totally.
You know, it's one of those things you know when you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So it has been amazing, and it has been our honor to learn more about you, Tony. So if our listeners want to learn more about you, your flips, connect with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, definitely. So Tony Eisenhauer on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. We do have a short-term rental, Peak and Pine Retreat up in North Conway, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So you can look that up as well.
Nice. So if you want to check out a short-term rental, check his out. So I just want to thank everybody for listening to the Freedom Real Estate Podcast. If you found value, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for checking us out, and take care, fellas.